Roth IRA versus 401k. Which is the better option for you in your retirement investing? That's what we're going to talk about today on the Your Financial EKG YouTube channel. My name is Drew Blackston. I'm a certified retirement counselor, investment advisor, representative, and I am your virtual financial advisor, helping you get to retirement, helping you get through retirement, and protecting your ability to stay in retirement. Let's talk about Roth IRAs. Let's talk about 401ks. Let's look at the pros and cons of each. And then at the end of this video, you'll have enough information and knowledge to make an informed decision for yourself on which investment vehicle is going to help you get to retirement. So let's talk about Roth IRAs first. So the first benefit of a Roth IRA is you invest with after-tax money. Now what that means is the money that you invest in a Roth IRA has already been, the taxes have already been paid on that money. So going forward, all the growth of the mutual funds, the stocks, the ETFs, whatever you invest your money with a Roth IRA in, that grows tax-free. So the second benefit to a Roth IRA is the investments grow, they grow tax-free, which is awesome. This is a great benefit. Now, I just took on a client. She's 19 years old. She's in the U.S. Navy. And she asked me, Drew, which is the best investment for me? Should I go into a Roth IRA? Should I go into an IRA? Should I just put my money in the market in a regular account? And I told her, hey, the best investment for you is a Roth IRA. You're 19 years old. You can put $6,000 in a year. And if you do that for the next 30 years, you're going to have $767,000. Now, obviously, she's going to have other investments. Her income's going to grow. And so hopefully we've got more than that in 30 years. But for her, being young, it made a whole lot of sense to start investing in her Roth IRA, which gives us our third benefit to a Roth IRA. Your contribution is $6,000. That means you can put in $6,000 every year of after-tax money to grow tax-free into your Roth IRA. Now, if you're over the age of 50, you can put another you can put up to $7,000, an extra $1,000 into your Roth IRA. So if you're under the age of 50, you can put in $6,000 a year. If you're over the age of 50, you can put in $7,000 a year. And these figures are normally adjusted for cost of living. Now, from 2021 to 2022, there was no increase in the contribution levels. So you have to make sure that you are following what the IRS says every year to the contribution levels, okay? Now, the fourth benefit to a Roth IRA is you have access to your contributions. So the money that you put into the 401k, you have access to this at any time. Now, I didn't mention the earnings, but let's say you put in $1,000 into your Roth IRA and it grows to $1,500, and then you go, oh my gosh, I need $1,000 for my car, my house, whatever. You can go into your Roth IRA. Now, I don't recommend this, and you can get the $1,000 out, but you have to leave the $500 in earnings, okay? So the earnings have to stay in, but the contributions can come out. Now, there's 5-year rules. There's a rule of 59.5. We're not going to get into that on this video, but access to your contributions are a lot easier in a Roth IRA, okay? Now, another benefit to a Roth IRA, there's no required minimum distribution. Now, required minimum distribution, if you have an IRA, a 401k, a simple, a SEP, when you get to the age of 72, the IRS says you've got to take money out of that IRA now. You've been building it up tax deferred. Now you've got to take it out and pay taxes on it. But with a Roth IRA, there are no required minimum distributions. That money can grow tax-free for as long as you want. Now, obviously, legislation can change this. I know that Congress has kicked around a few times changing this, trying to force Roth IRA holders to have an RMD. That's not on the books as of this video. So make sure you check the date if things do change. But there's no RMD for a Roth IRA. Now, the one thing that you need to be aware of with a Roth IRA, there's two specific rules that you want to be aware of. The first one is income limits. You can only invest in a Roth IRA if you fall under certain income limits. For people who file single file, meaning you file just yourself on your tax return, you have to make less than $129,000. So for single, it's $129K or less, okay? So that's single. For married, if you file married, it's $204,000. So you have to make $204,000 or less in order to contribute to a Roth IRA. If you make over this as a single file or a married filer, then you have to look at other retirement vehicles, okay? Now, the second thing you always want to be aware of with a Roth IRA is the rule of 59 and a half. And what that says is, if you take money out of your Roth IRA, the earnings out of your Roth IRA before the age 59 and a half, there is a 10% penalty on the money that you take out. Not your contribution, but on the earnings. So you want to be well aware of that before you go in and you take money out of your Roth IRA under the age of 59 and a half, okay? So let's move over to 401ks. Let's talk about the benefits of those, and then we're going to compare the two to give you the best information going forward. Hang on right there. All right, let's talk about the 401k and some information about a 401k, again, so you can make an informed decision on whether you should invest in a Roth IRA or a 401k for retirement. And stay till the end, because I got a secret that most people don't know about Roth IRAs and 401ks, all right? So with a 401k, the first thing you need to know is this is pre-tax money. Most 401ks today are what they call traditional 401ks, meaning the money that you put into that 401k is pre-tax, meaning it grows tax deferred. But when you take the money out of your 401k, whether you're 55 and you use the rule of 55 or you're over the age of 59 and a half, when you pull money out of that 401k, it is taxed as ordinary income. Now, I'm starting to see more Roth 401ks today, meaning they work just like the Roth IRA we talked about just a minute ago, except there's higher contribution levels. But I don't see enough of them yet to go into full detail. So again, Roth IRA versus 401k. Now, the second thing about a 401k that you need to know is that it's offered at a job, okay? So in order to invest in a 401k, it has to be offered at your job. So you can't just open up a 401k account at Fidelity or TD Ameritrade and start investing $26,000 a year. It's got to be offered at your job, okay? The investments inside of your 401k, they grow tax deferred, which means the money that you put into the 401k that we mentioned earlier is not taxed. Those investments are growing tax deferred, but when you take the money out of those investments, you're going to pay ordinary income tax. So wherever you're at in life, whether you're 59, 69, 79, 89, and you pull money out of your 401k, it's taxed as if you're working, dollar for dollar, 100 pennies on 100 pennies, okay? Now, keep in mind, with a 401k, you still have an RMD at 72. Now, remember we mentioned with a Roth IRA, you do not have an RMD, but with a 401k, you have a required minimum distribution, meaning you have to start taking distributions out of your 401k at the age of 72. The IRS sets the percentages on that, and that percentage grows every year. It's not a 10-year withdrawal or a lump sum. It is a certain percentage to get you to 120. Their tables go all the way to 120. So essentially, I don't think you're ever going to withdraw everything out of your 401k unless you're taking it for retirement income and taking too much out of it. Now, the contribution levels for a 401k, $20,500 if you're under the age of 50, and $27,000 if you're over the age of 50. So if you're under the age of 50, you can put in $20,500 into your 401k. If you're over the age of 50, you can put in $27,000 into your 401k. So you have a much higher contribution limit in a 401k than you do in an IRA. Now, the other thing you need to know about 401ks is you have fewer investment options. Most of the time with a 401k, they give you a booklet of mutual funds that you're allowed to invest in. And you're only allowed to invest in those specific funds. So if you wanted to buy a certain stock, let's say you want to buy AT&T stock, you can't go out in your 401k and buy AT&T stock. You have to stay within what those funds that the company offers. And so there's fewer investment options in a 401k. All right. So we've looked at the Roth IRA. Now we've looked at the 401k. Let's look at them together and see which is going to be the best for you. And again, I got a secret for you at the very end, so hang on. All right, just to recap, we've looked at the Roth IRA and we've looked at the 401k. So let me give you my professional advice on who should invest in a Roth IRA and who should invest in a 401k. Now, disclosure, make sure you talk to your financial advisor, your investment professional, to make sure that you're making the best decision for you. Now, if you want to talk to me, how you get in touch with me is in the details of this video, or click the link in the comment section, download my booklet called The Roadmap to Retirement. It's a free booklet. Select the box that yes, you want to speak to me, and I'll reach out to you and we'll look at Roth IRA and 401k options for you so that you can make the best decision moving forward. Now, for the Roth IRA, if you are younger, 20s, 30s, 40s, I want you investing in a Roth IRA. If you have a lower income, meaning your income does not exceed the single file and the married filing jointly thresholds for a Roth IRA, then I want you investing in a Roth IRA. Remember, for a single individual, you have to make $129,000 or less. For a married filing jointly couple, it's $204,000. So if your income falls below that, I want you investing in a Roth IRA. And anyone who has a longer term investment horizon, meaning you're going to let this investment sit for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I want you investing in a Roth IRA, because to get the best bang for your buck with a Roth IRA, you got to let that baby cook for a long time. All right? Now, with a 401k, you want to invest in a 401k if it's offered at your job. If they offer a 401k at your job, invest in it. Put something in it, especially if they're matching what you're putting in. Get the free money. If you have a higher income, if your income is above the thresholds for a Roth IRA and a 401k is offered at your job, invest in a 401k. The reason for that is because you have larger contributions. You can save a whole lot more money in a 401k or a Roth 401k than you can in a standard Roth IRA. Also, if you are older and you have a higher income, continue to invest in your 401k. Keep your taxes lower, because when you retire, you're probably going to be in a lower tax bracket, so the 401k makes the most sense. Okay, you ready for the secret? Here's the secret that most people don't know. You can invest in a Roth IRA and a 401k if your income thresholds fall below the 129 for single and 204 for married. So you can invest in both. So if your income falls below $204,000 as a married couple and $129,000 as a single couple or a single individual, and let's say you have a 401k at work, invest in your 401k. But if you got spare change in the couch left over at the end of each month, put it in your Roth IRA, because you can invest in both. And you can have tax-deferred money here getting a match, and you can have tax-free money here, and you can get to retirement, through retirement, and stay in retirement. Hey, thank you so much for coming back to the Your Financial EKG YouTube channel. Make sure if you're not subscribed, hit the button below to subscribe. Smash the like button if you enjoy this content, and leave your questions and comments below. I do read them all and try to respond accordingly. And remember, if you want to get in touch with me, all my contact information is in the details. I would love to help you on your retirement journey. Have a great rest of your day. God bless. Bye-bye.